Welcome to Overs 30 Gaming. This is, of course, Regimus from Overs 30 Gaming and Chubby Jedi.
That dude sounds like a douche.
Yep, that douchebag is currently playing another game.
How
Civ
dare him?
7. Yeah, how dare him. But anyways, so by popular demand and because I got to fix up my fuck up from yesterday, I'm going to show you guys the power surge build for the critical pulse bow. Now, as you guys can see, I have the critical pulse bow. I, of course, have calibrated it to level 10, and I have all the stars. And, of course, it's in tier 5. So, and I have given it a different calibration, portable style, with 7.2 and 9.4 for elemental damage. So we'll go ahead and do that. One shot in the chest, right in the center. Then we'll go one shot. So as you can see, one shot does around 64,000 damage. So if we let that clear, and I don't know how long it takes for the bow to actually reset, or I guess you could say my pants. I'm going to go ahead and eat some food, so I'm not worried about it. Only increases health, not damage. So we'll go ahead and see if we can't proc and see how much damage we get right before the reset of the pants. One shot, two shots, three shots, four shots, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 shots total for 391,786 damage. And that's all because of the pants I'm currently wearing, which is the overload pants, which after triggering power surge 20 times, the next 6 shots will consume reserve ammunition instead of, and shock damage plus 20%. Cooldown is 4 seconds. Triggering power surge during the duration does not count towards this effect. So of course, after 4 seconds, which we should be at, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So as you can see, it's an average of about 9 shots. In that time, I only got 509,000. But for a bow that shoots, I mean, you're doing 3 shots and then 6 consecutively right after that. I think that's a pretty good build. Now, I have built my gear out to, I guess you can say, build towards the actual bow build and not towards any of the other electrical builds. Now, the reason why I've done that during my mods. But first, we'll actually go into the overall gear with the actual mods. So, I have gone with the Blackstone kit because of the Man Abyss season that we're currently in, and because the temperature really plays out to where it pulls the maximum effectiveness out of the Blackstone set. And as you can see here, I have the headpiece on first, and you can see at the set bonuses, upon dealing elemental damage, gain 1 stack of warm sensation. Elemental damage 2% for 2 seconds, triggers 1 every 0.5 seconds up to 5 stacks. So if you can tell, that's an extra 10%. And next, when the temperature is between 10 and 30 Celsius, which is almost all the time on the Man Abyss server, unless if you go into certain areas, it does get a little bit colder, but not by much. You gain warm stats, which is elemental damage 18%. So far this set is giving us an extra 28% elemental damage. And then at 5 stacks of warm sensation, you are considered to be in a warm status. When the environment temperature is between, we gain another 7 on top of that 28. So that's an extra 35% elemental damage towards the bow. Now, with going into the actual gear, I have built out my mods a little bit differently, probably than what most people would do. I have gone through and I have mostly gone for talents, which actually goes towards elemental damage. And so for the headpiece, I went for Elemental Havoc, elemental damage plus 10% when HP is above 90%, and then when HP is above 90%, 10% additional. So that's 20% most of the time, unless if I'm taking damage. Plus, I got some pretty good rolls on this mod. I got legendary elemental damage 8%, and then I built for reload speed bonus, because you got to think, the more you're reloaded, the faster you're able to reload your bow, the quicker you're shooting. So next we'll go to mask. Now the mask, I have gone out and of course 6-starred that, and of course it's calibration all the way 6. I went with the Renegade mask because I like the looks of the mask, but for, you know, in the set, instead of going with boots, gloves, chest piece, or the head, I went with the mask. And that is because reloads speed 15%. So like I said before, the quicker you're shooting, the better off you are going to be. Oops. So, and the mod I went for that, of course, is Thunderclap Violent. And the reason why I did the Thunderclap Violent, which is because I don't have Thunderclap talents yet. The mask mods seem to be the hardest mods to actually get, especially when it comes to getting the special ones for like Thunderclap, when after triggering Power Surge 20 times, the next weapon hits summon Celestial Thunder. However, I made sure I got the one where I rolled a legendary reload speed bonus of 12%. So that is the number one reason I went for that one. Next, of course, is the Blackstone gloves. Oh, the one thing I forgot to mention while we were doing this too is, let's see here, if I click, here we go. This is the screen I should be looking at. So for the mask, I built regular hide, which increased my HP by 100. For the mask, I went golden wool as the material I'm building it out to increase weapon and status damage plus 12% in total between them, with the proportion changing every second. So that way I'm either doing more weapon or elemental damage. But golden wool seems to literally be the golden standard for the mask. I think Chubby can even agree with me on that. Correct, Chubby?
That is correct.
So out of all the servers we so far gone to, golden wool actually sells the best as well. Him and I usually take some golden sheep with us and transfer them in, not only for ourselves, but also to sell in our vending machines. Chubby, what do we normally put those in for, too? What is it, 15K or?
I mean, starting off the server, you could sell it for 30 to 50K, depending on the server.
Yeah, 30 to 50K.
Toward the end, yeah, 10 to 15.
Yeah. So even in the end, though, we were selling it between 10 to 15K. So people are still wanting to do it, especially when they're reloading masks or upgrading them. The next, of course, I went for the Blackstone chest piece. I went with the lunar wolf skin on this one, and that was just because it was a whole lot easier to get than Wasteland wolf skin. Max stamina plus 15 movement speed and scoped in movement speed 5%. The effect doubles. I'm not really worried about if the effect doubles if the HP is below 30%. With the bow, because of the fact you're constantly reloading, you want to be able to move, so that way you can increase your distance away, so that way we are maximizing our efforts on top of our hood, because the less damage we're taking, the more damage we do. And so we'll go into the mod on that. Now, this is the mod where a lot of people will probably argue back and forth which what is the best mod. Now, I will go ahead and click on the mods and I will show you. So a lot of people tend to go life force boost on this, from at least what I can see. And it's not bad to go life force boost. If I was going to go life force boost, I would actually probably use that first mod I was just on. Yeah, I would. I would use this first mod right here because I got a reload speed bonus of 9.6 and then elemental damage of 4.8. However, I'm not really worried about my health because normally I have Chubby along and he's normally tanking all the heat. So I haven't really been worried about that. So as we can see with most of the others, literally the chest piece is all about decreasing the amount of damage you're taking because the chest and pants are what actually take most of your damage in your fights. But since being the crossbow, I'm normally trying to not take damage. So I'm not really looking to get hit. And as you can see, I have modded up quite a bit of these. But because of the fact I'm not trying to take any damage, I went with a blue mod to give me the most amount of damage I can output, which is status damage plus 12% and elemental damage 4.8. Now, from what I know and from what I can understand about status damage is basically elemental damage. It's just, I think, the way it hits out. Now, I probably need to dive a little bit deeper into that, but from my knowledge, they're basically kind of one in the same kind of damage. So, as you know, elemental damage would be like, I guess, the shock damage that I'd be doing. So, instead of doing 12, it's doing 16.8 damage. At least that's what I suspect. And then we will move to the pants. Now, with the pants, this is not what most people tell you to do. Most people tell you to go with the Mayfly goggles. I like not reloading when I'm with the crossbow. And that 6 shots just makes it feel like I can stack on the ticks a lot quicker than if I was using the Mayfly goggles. And so I went with the overloaded pants. And of course, the overloaded pants, when the magazine is empty, status damage plus 10% for 12 seconds. Effect stacks up to 3 times. So even with that, oh, actually, that's my mod. Excuse me. With that mod, I am constant reloading with the crossbow. So when I'm doing that, I am stacking that damage up to 30%. And with that mod, I also made sure I prioritized status damage and then reload speed. Now, if we scroll up, I think that is the best mod I actually have available, if I'm not mistaken. So, out of all these other ones that are the Manibus build ones, as you can see, none of them have reload speed. And so I did go for the one that I guess the system actually says it's a little bit lower, which kind of makes sense. So it's 3 blues and a purple, but it has status damage and reload speed bonus. Now, when I was making the pants, I used Lunar Wolfskin to increase my max stamina and, of course, movement speed. But the key effect, the unique effect of the pants, as you guys saw while I was shooting, is the power surge after 20 times. The next 6 shots will consume reserve ammo instead of shock, and add an additional shock damage of 20% with a cooldown of 4 seconds. I actually like that because, like I said, the more you're shooting without having to reload, the more damage output you have. Now, and of course, as you can see, I have that 6 starred up with calibration 6. Next, we'll move on to the gloves. Chubby actually told me to go with the gloves on this one, because I was actually going to try to mix up a little bit, but he definitely said that I should go for all 4 stacks to get that extra 7%. So that's what I did. With this Blackstone gloves, I used Lunar Rabbit Fur, and that was because during the time I was trying to increase the amount of wisps to try to increase my ability to get deviants, and that is literally the only reason I went with Lunar Rabbit Fur. Now, with the mod on this, though, I went with Status Enhancement Resonance, which gives me status damage plus 20% off the bat. And as you see with this one, which is Manibus build, these are usually the mods that drop from Prime Wars. I got the reload speed bonus of 7.2%. And then when I deal, excuse me, one instance of weak spot damage, I get an extra elemental damage of 0.8%, and this effect stacks up to 8 times and lasts for 6 seconds. And then when I deal one instance of elemental damage, I get crit damage plus 4%, and the effect stacks up to 5 times. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's kind of garbage compared to what else you could probably do, and you're probably not wrong. But when it comes to the stats enhancement mods, as you can see, the other one I have where it is talents, I got magazine capacity. Magazine capacity does not help the crossbow because I have actually stacked magazine capacity up to, I think, 50%, I think is what I was being able to get up to, and I could still not get an extra bolt in my crossbow, so I just gave up on that. And then, of course, I have this one, which is 3.2% all the time. Talents, which is green, and then reload speed of 7.2%. And then I have this one, which I actually equipped, which... You know what? I'm going to actually equip that one. I think that one might actually do me a little bit better. 3.2% all the time is actually pretty good. So, you know, sometimes you see stuff and you decide to change it at last minute. So, I went ahead and go with that mod. Alright, next is the boots. Now, with the boots, I went with Lunar Wolfskin mod. So that way, you know, to increase my movement speed. And of course, it's the Blackstone boots. I don't have this one all the way starred out yet, but I am working on it, and I got calibration 0.6. Now, for the mod on this one, I went with Chubby's advice instead of what my mind is telling me, because Chubby seems to always be out damaging me on fucking everything, unless if he slips up and gets knocked like 3 times in one fight. You can watch that video. It's on my YouTube. It's epic.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I used covered advanced talents. Taking no damage within 4 seconds grants 20% weapon and status damage for 30 seconds. So for taking no damage for 4 seconds, I get 30 seconds of 20% weapon and status damage. This effect resets when the duration ends. So basically, every 34 seconds, I can gain an extra 20% damage. And then, of course, I prioritized elemental damage and then reload speed. Now, as we can see, we'll go to my mods. And, of course, I have a lot more mods than most people probably have saved. I started trying to collect against all odds. I'm trying to get this one built up, but I haven't been able, as you can see, the 2 that I have gotten up, I haven't been able to get a roll I like yet. Because I want talents with reload speed, but I have not gotten a talents with reload speed yet, which a little irritating I might add, but as you can see, I've run that dungeon quite a bit. So we'll find covered advanced, right here. So as you can see, I'm actually using, I guess, my highest rolled one already, at least how the system plays it out. But I have a couple else on here, which this one has elemental damage 8%, but the reload speed is only 7.2. So this one is actually prioritizing the reload speed, which is legendary, with the elemental damage, which is epic, I guess what you would call. So, I know I go in it a little bit differently than a lot of people into the builds. They usually just upload it and then send it up, but I thought I would actually show you and explain to you why I picked what I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we actually got 10 shots out of that one. And as you can see, the ticks going for 518,682. And as you guys can see, each tick does about between basically about 5K. So this is how I feel like you can almost be, you know, the god of like Thor inside Once Human. I know Chubby, he likes being whoever, Apollo, I guess, because he's working with the Boom Boom right now. But maybe later we'll go through his build if you guys request it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and especially comment if you guys would like to see Chubby's build. And I'll make sure I go through a video with him and post that up if one or two of you guys comment about it. All right, I hope you guys have a great day.